Let's get this going. Right, I can see a few of you coming on now. Just gonna evening all. Lee Ashby here, Motocross and Speedo Memories. Hope you're all good. Hope you can hear me all good. I'm just going to do my thank yous here, and then I should have my guest on in a couple of minutes. Big thanks for the support to Simon Pardo of White Eagle Finance. They give quality financial advice for pensions, mortgages, investments and protection. Check the website out, www.whiteeaglefinance.co.uk. Quote myself or Motocross and Speedo Memories for free advice. So get hold of Simon. Big thanks to the MX legend Stefan Everts with his S72 Gin and Vodka brand. Check out his website on www.s72gin.com. Big thanks to Lee Owen of Owen Developments. You can see my polo shirt here. They specialise in supplying turbochargers to a global customer base covering motorsport performance and aftermarket and OEM sectors. Check his shop site out on www.owenturbos.com, and his other website is www.owendevelopments.co.uk. Big thanks to Terry Smith from his Terry Smith Painting and Decorating. And also big thanks to Craig Tripler of Jardine Conservatories. Check those guys out on www.jardineintelford.co.uk. Proud sponsors of Mr. Luke Becker, the American that rides for Wolverhampton Wolves as well. Hey Kev, how's it going? Got yours all registered, buddy? Spot on. Hope you're all looking forward to the guests this evening. Hello, Simon. Evening Lee, a true Dudley Wood legend. Yes, he certainly is. So hopefully I'll have him on for you guys soon. Just a couple of things I needed to show you before we get going. I can bring my guest on. He should be on in a minute. I've got my new bike competition going. So I'll just show you a quick video on that. I'll just take that down. There you go. So that's our Ryan Villapoto, the American Supercross and Motocross legend, the replica bike there, the Motocross Donations. You guys can message me for any numbers you like on that bike competition. There will only be 200 numbers total, and then I'll do a live draw. So yeah, you can get hold of me for them tickets on the bike. I think that just from last night alone, there's already got 30 numbers gone already. All right, I can see my guests, so I'll stop waffling and I'll play my intro video for you guys that are all in here waiting for this man to come on. So I'll just play the intro video and then we'll get him in. Here we go. Here we go. Right, I'm going to bring in the man himself, Big Al, Mr. Alan Grahame. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Good.
Good to see you, mate. What did you think seeing those bit of few memories coming up on the screen there?
Yeah, good old times, the good old days, yeah. All good.
Exactly that, mate. There's already been quite a few people coming in and commenting already, which is really nice. Someone said, "Great bloke, Big Al, 5-1." They love the 5-1.
Yeah,
We got here.
Peter Adams used to call Murnfield the engine room.
Yes, we like the engine room, Al. Where the points come from and all that, the 5-1s. I've got Gary O'Hare's just come on and put Big Al. Hello.
Hello, Gary.
Before I get into my questions, I'll quote some of these people. I've got Jim Hingley here. Has put, "Hi, Lee and Big Al. My dad worked at Dudley Wood as a raker on the Fourth Bend, and as a kid, I used to sit on the grass bank in the pits, and I remember Alan used to arrive quite late sometimes." Was that true, Al?
I was always late at about sometimes.
Even Jill told me that Andy's a bit like that as well. Is that right?
Yeah, but I'm always late everywhere, all the time.
Brilliant. We've got David Rowley here's put, "Evening, Lee and Big Al. Great to get you on the show. Wouldn't it be great to get the glory days back at Dudley Wood? I so miss it."
It would be good. If they get a track, it would be great. So fingers crossed. Never give up.
No, exactly. Did you see? I don't know if you've seen the news lately that hopefully that Oxford is coming back down at Cowley apparently. So
I didn't know that because I don't really follow the Speedway that much anymore, to be honest.
Yeah, so there's a potential of that. I got Simon Corbett's just come on and put, "Evening, Lee, true Dudley Wood legend."
Yeah, well, I did ride there for about 15 seasons, I think, 15 years. So, yeah, a bit of a legend.
We'll get into that. Got Carl Baxter here has put, "My mother used to send our local newspaper clippings for any meetings he rode at Ipswich."
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
People are going to remember all sorts tonight, Alan. Oh, God, what's he saying there? I'm not too sure. Right, I got Jay Marks here's put, "I used to remember young Tony with his little speedway bike down by the pits back in the day. Glad he got to go into motocross sidecar as well."
Yeah, he's doing well. Yeah, still
He's
doing
also
it.
put you've raced and beat the best in the world. Love it.
Yeah, back in the day, I have beat the best in the world. Everybody has his day, and which I didn't beat them on a more regular basis, really.
Right, let's get into some questions then, Alan. So, how have you been? Obviously, we've had some weird times with the old COVID and everything. So, what have you been doing with yourself since the Speedway days then?
Well, as soon as I finished Speedway, which was 98, first thing I did was went out and bought a sidecar motocross outfit. And I did that from 99 was my first year back. And I think I finished in 2010. So I did about 11 years or something. And then I concentrate, because at the time Andy was racing sidecars, John was racing, my brother John was racing sidecars, and we all pretty well packed up at the same time. But then I carried on mechanicking for my son who was racing sidecars. And then I started riding again about 3 or 4 years ago, which all came about because John's lad, Jake, his youngest lad, he decided he wanted to do sidecar passengering. So he said to his dad, "John, learn me the basics and that's what I want to do." So John dragged his bike out and they went practicing at Kidderminster.
Yeah.
And they had a big crash, big end over end, front dug in, and bike went gambolling. And John broke some vertebrae in his back and some ribs.
Bloody hell.
And Jake was then stranded without a driver. So he asked me if I'd step in and teach him on John's bike. And John okayed it. So I did a season with Jake. And he's moved on to, faster drivers now and he's doing well.
Nice.
And I ended up carrying on riding, teaching some young lads that wanted to be passengers. And it was my partner's grandson. He wanted to do it, so I had a year with him. But he's out injured at the moment. He had an accident on his road bike, and he's currently injured. Well, just getting over a broken leg. But I've had a standing passenger this year, but I'm undecided about next year yet. We'll have to wait and see what happens.
I've got a few pictures here as well.
Yeah, that's me and Andy, I think.
Yeah,
Me and Andy. Yeah. Andy passed for about 4 years.
Yeah. So what? So the whole family's got the whole sidecar bug as well, and a lot of you guys have done it.
Yeah, well, my dad started it all off. He
Yeah.
was, I think he was 5 times IMCA champion, 3 times European champion as a driver.
Yeah.
Then I started doing it when I was 16, before I went into Speedway.
Yeah.
And then when I packed up Speedway, I went back into it. John went into it. Andy went into it after he'd finished racing Speedway. My sister's boyfriend, he was into it. And I remember on the start line, there'd be like me driving. My son was driving. John was driving. Andy was driving. And John's lad Scott, he was passengering. That's 5 Graham's. And my sister's boyfriend, he was racing against us as well. So, there's about 5 or 6 Graham's on the start line.
Crazy.
Against each other.
What was that? What was that like then?
It was good, It was real good.
Competitive?
Very competitive, yeah. Few mishaps along the way, I remember having to break up a fight between Andy and my son at one meeting because they'd had coming together on the track and all kicked off in the pits afterwards.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, we've had some good times, real good times.
Oh, that's brilliant.
What's going on now? I was on the road myself a couple of weeks ago. So, yeah, all good.
Because my first sort of pretty much experience in the sidecars is it was a Nora meeting, and I watched it at the Fox Hill, and I took some photos of it. It was unbelievable to watch. It's very spectacular as a fan watching the passengers literally hanging off the side, touching the floor in the corners. I got some great pictures of it. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, the passengers, I think, all deserve medals because I did try it once, but I couldn't do it. Andy, as he's a good passenger, or was, he's getting on a bit now. And my lad, he's a good passenger. Yeah. He can drive and passenger, which not many people can do.
Yeah.
And he's good at both. But the passengers, in my opinion, they do all the hard work. They have to be the fittest, and a lot of them do some serious training. And to do a 35-minute race, it's punishing.
Yeah, I loved that. Loved watching it, and it certainly looked crazy as well, especially over the jumps at Fox Hill. It was mad. I've spoke to Jake a couple of times on Facebook, so that's nice. I've got to speak to him as well, so that's cool. Right, I've got one here saying, I don't know if that's the Andy Smith, but he's put, was Big Al on time tonight, or did he get fined?
Well, I came early because I'm at Andy's house, and he said between 5 and 15, and I got here at 50. But we weren't on time, so I weren't.
Yeah, you weren't even on 2 minutes. You was on time and everything.
Yeah.
Got Big Al. You were a great teammate. Much love from Boydie.
Yeah, Boydie was a good lad. Yeah, real good.
Lee, picture this. Big Al on the inside, doing the gardening, and Flyer Phil Collins on the outside, painting the fence. Guaranteed 5-1. Happy days. Thanks, Al, for the happy memories. A true legend.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Very nice.
When I rode with Phil, 9 times out of 10, I always had the inside, he always had the outside. There was never any arguments, he loved the outside, I loved the inside, so that all worked out good. And Peter Adams used to call us the engine room of the team, the pairing that did the damage, so that was quite good.
Yeah, I like that. I've also got someone's just put, what are your thoughts on the state of the British Speedway? So you've pretty much said that you haven't really watched too much of it or been sort of too involved in any way or anything?
In the last few years, I mean, when I packed up riding, I did scrutineer at Wolverhampton for about 10 years. So I kept involved from that point of view, but I packed that up about 3 seasons ago. And there's that many other things going on now. I follow the GPs on the telly, but I don't really follow the domestic speedway so much now. But saying that, I've watched a couple of matches this year on telly. Wolverhampton were in both of them.
Yeah.
But I can't believe there's only 6 teams in the top league now. You know, back in my day, there was about 18 teams in the first division and 18 teams in the second division. You know, Speedway is struggling, really.
I've got David Smith here on Facebook's put, hi Lee, can you say hi to Al for me, please? And say thanks to him for the good races we had in the AMCA Championships in the late 90s.
Yeah, we had some good battles. They were champions one year. They deserved it, you know. Yeah, I mean, like I said, the late 90s, I did ride 99, 2000. And we had some good battles. And I mean, still do love me sidecar motocross. It's what I did before I did Speedway. And of course, when I finished Speedway, I went straight back into it. You don't get paid for it, but I just enjoy, you know, the weekends. It's good.
Yeah, brilliant. I've got John Westwood here on YouTube. He's put a Cradley legend, Big Al. How did you enjoy riding with Kenny Carter when riding for England, and how's your knuckles?
Well, Kenny Carter. I admired him as a rider. He was a very good rider, determined Yorkshireman. But as a person, I didn't really like Kenny because of his attitude. We did one of the times I went to Australia in the England team. Kenny was in the team, and he didn't. I mean, he scored well and he rode well, but he didn't fit in with the team. You know, he never used to stay at the same places we stayed. And also, I remember one meeting, he was the last rider out the England team to get there, and we'd all pitted up, and he came in last and pitted totally the other side of the pitch to us.
Did he?
Yeah, he did, yeah. And I remember he got his bike cover over the bike, and I went up and I lifted it up to look at his engine, and he rapped me on the back of the knuckles with a spanner.
Is that what the knuckles thing was about? Yeah.
That's what the knuckle thing was about, yeah. As a rider, brilliant. As a person, I didn't like him that much.
Okay, fair enough. I just want to say thanks to Callum Marshall as well. He's a big fan of you both, Andy and yourself, and he did get me a lot of pictures that we're going to put up tonight. So well done to Callum for sorting that out. So what was your first ever bike then, Alan, that you ever had? And how old were you when you had that?
I was 7 years old. It was a Corgi, and it was one of them bikes they used to drop out the aeroplanes in the war. Then, you know, like a box or a drum or something, and the handlebars used to lift up and the seat used to pull up, and they were like little, I don't know, army runabout bikes. But my dad bought it off Arthur Browning's dad, and my dad did it all up for me, and I was 7 when I had that. And a couple of years later, he put a sidecar on it for Andy, and me and Andy used to ride that, and we were about 9 and 5, something like that. So
yeah. What about the first sort of introduction to the speedway bike then?
That all came about. I was into my motocross, and that was the path I was going down, following my dad's footsteps. But Birmingham Speedway opened in about 71, I think it was. I think how old I was then. I don't know, I was about 17 or something like that.
Yeah.
And, I went down to watch, and and I watched it, for about half a season. Arthur Browning, he was going down to watch, and he just thought, oh, I can do this, you know what Arthur's like. And he bought a bike and he had a go, and bought a bike and rode in the second half. And the following year he was in the team, and I think his first meeting, that'd been 72, I think. His first meeting he got a maximum, 12-point maximum. And I just thought I'd love to have a go at this. So I had a word with the promoter. First thing question he was, have you got a bike? And I went, no. He said, well, get a bike, come and see me. So I had a word with my dad and managed to borrow a bike off someone who'd had a go, and it weren't for them. It was just sitting in the garage, so I borrowed that. And I used to ride around after the meeting, still doing motocross, still going to work. And Monday night after the meeting, I had a skid round Perry Bar, and then I got into the juniors. And then I started winning junior races, 72, 73. Again, just Monday nights only, but I'd get the odd time when somebody was injured, and I'd get literally the odd meeting in the team. That was 70, 73, I think. But I was doing an apprenticeship, so that held me back a bit. Plus, my equipment was rubbish. And then in 74, my dad managed to get me a bike from the BSI factory, which was a prototype. It wasn't fast enough, but it was free. So that was the big bonus with that bike. Because I hadn't got a lot of money. And it brought out, it made me as a rider, I think, because it was slow. You had to try so much harder to keep up. I never won on hardly any races on it, but the Jawas were quicker and they'd pull away out the corners. And then I used to make it, I wouldn't shut off till I'd made it up going in the next corner. And I rode that in 74, I think it was. And then in 75, there was a chance of a team place. And with Joe Thurley's help, I had a brand new Jawa. And I got in the team, forced my way in. What it was, there was no team places available, and I was still a junior. This was at the start of 75. And the first race, it was only a 13-hoot formula then. The first race after the interview was the Juniors Jones. I won that every week for 4 weeks. And then you might get if you was lucky, you'd get a chance to have one of the hoots for the final. And then if you was in the last heat, you didn't want to come in from the last heat and then go straight out again for the final. They used to run an extra race in between the last heat and the final, which was called the Reserves Revenge.
Okay.
And it was the top 2 juniors on the night against number 6 and number 7 in the Birmingham team. So this was your chance to prove yourself against number 6 and number 7. And I won that 4 weeks in a row. So then it was like time. We'd had all the challenge matches and the Mickey Mouse matches and the friendlies, and the first league match was coming up. And Arthur Browning and George Major, the 2 kingpins in the team, said to Joe Thurley, "We know you've got to put him in the team. He's proved himself in the second halves. You need to put him in for the first league match," which they did. Put me in. Ricky Day got the chop, and he went to Crewe. He was fixed up. He was okay. And that was my foot in the door. And I just made sure that, I wasn't going to let it go, and just worked my way up the team in 1975. That was. I went from reserve to second string to heat leader, back down to second string, and finished the season as a heat leader. I think I was second in the averages at the end of the season, in the Birmingham averages. And halfway through the season, Swindon were badly struck by injury that year, 75. And Bob Radford was the announcer. He lived in Swindon, I think. And he was the announcer at Birmingham. And he suggested to Swindon management that if they were struggling for riders, maybe they should give Alan Grahame a spin. And I had a guest appearance down at Swindon at number 7 against Bellevue. It was, I think I scored 2 points, but Swindon won 40-38. So them 2 points turned out to be pretty critical in the end.
Yeah.
And they was impressed with me at Swindon, and they signed me for the rest of the season. But Birmingham had first call on me. But when they didn't clash, I rode for Swindon till the end of the season. And the highlight of my season, I think, was the last race of the season. It was the Champion of the Evening final at Swindon.
Mm-hmm.
We got through to the final, and it was Martin Ashby, me, Jimmy Macmillan, and Bobby Beaton.
Mm-hmm.
It was all that night. And they used to split the finals in them days. And Jimmy Mack and Bobby Beaton were on the track, and Jimmy Mack come up to me. I was the third one to walk out to me, boy. And he says, "Split final, Alan." And I went, "Yeah, fine by me." I said, "But we better square it with Martin." And, so Martin comes out. I says, "Is it split final, Martin?" And he says to me, he says, "Well, it's split the point money." But that particular night, there was a sponsor that had stepped in and put some money up for the final.
Okay.
And if I remember rightly, and I might be wrong here, it was something like £20 the winner, 15 for second, 10 for third, and 5 for fourth, or something like that.
Yeah.
And when Martin wouldn't split the money, that got me back up. I thought, "You haven't won that money, Martin." And because he just assumed he was going to go out and win,
Yeah, of course he did. Yeah.
He was number one and all that. And I had other ideas, basically. Come out the start, and we go coming onto the back straight. Jimmy Mack was in front. I was second, and Martin was third. But Martin, I could hear him coming down the outside like a steam train. So I just shut the door on him. Let's put the brakes on a bit sharpish. Naughty. And then I was second behind Jimmy Mack, and I passed him on the third lap, I think, and I won the final. So that was like the icing on the cake for my season, really. Starting not even in a second division team, and then winning the Champion of the Evening final at the first division meeting. It was like,
wow, yeah,
the icing on the cake, really.
Yeah, over my Uncle Martin as well. That was pretty cool at Swindon.
Yeah, and then that was me. Another thing at Swindon I remember about Martin. I'd only just gone to Swindon, and Martin was quite a lot heavier than me, and I was about 9.5 stone, 9.25 stone, or something, 9.5 stone. And Martin came up to me and he says, "Alan," he says, "58's the gear around there." I went, "Oh, cheers, Martin." So I put a 58 on, and after a couple of rides, I thought, "No, this ain't the gear for me, it's revving out too much." So I went to a 57, and I'm changing gear, and Martin come up and he said, "What are you doing?" So I'm putting a 57 on. "I've told you," he says, "58's the gear." I says, "Martin, I'm about half the size that you." And he went, "Oh, all right," and he walked off. But 57 was the gear for me, because,
because of the weight ratio,
what power to weight ratio, and that's what I used to run, and I always run smaller sprockets than anybody else because I weren't so heavy. Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad that story. I thought he was going to say that he gave you the wrong gearing then on purpose.
No. Well, I was in the same as him, don't forget, So.
Yeah, exactly that. Right, I got a couple of people. I did have a photo there as well from the early days in Birmingham there. I think that was...
Yeah, me and Soren Suggestion. That was 76, I think. It was Birmingham's first year in the first division. Yeah.
What was he like as a teammate?
I can't remember, to be honest. He was a good gaiter, I do remember that, yeah.
Was he? Yeah. Interesting. I've got a few people have been saying some stuff while I've been looking when we were listening to that. I got Simon Corbett here has said, I remember Big Al having a few dust-ups with Mitch Shearer and Brian Carger come to mind. Do you remember that, Alan?
I don't remember the one with Brian Carger. I remember the one with Mitch Shearer. That was at Reading.
Yeah.
It was going down the back straight on the last lap of whatever race it was. And Mitch was trying to squeeze between me and the fence. And his handlebars caught in the mesh. And he went gambolling down the straight. And it was on the last lap, so I come round and stopped where Mitch was to ask him if he was okay. And he just punched me in the mouth. So I had an open face helmet on, so he just punched me in the mouth. I weren't too impressed. My mouth was all bleeding, and ended up I lost a tooth over that. Yeah.
Oh my god!
So one of my front teeth went black, killed the nerve or something, and I had to have it crowned, and it's given me trouble on and off over the years ever since. Yeah.
Never forgot that one then.
No.
I remember Mitch at Swindon. He was quite a small, fiery guy, wasn't he?
Fiery, wasn't
he? Yeah. Over pretty much anything I remember. I'm trying to get him on for an interview as well, so that would be interesting if I can get him on. I've also got Dave Avery here, but I'm sitting here watching the legend that is Big Al, and I'm not worthy. Says he's not worthy, so he's bigging you up there, Al.
Right.
I got Timmy here on YouTube. He says, I'm currently sat in the living room of Big Al's former mechanic, listening to this. Does Al remember his mechanic warming the bike up in the back of the van on the way to Bradford when he was late?
Vaguely, yeah, I do remember that, yeah. I think it only happened the once. But yeah, we was like warming the bike up in the back of the van, yeah.
Bloody hell. Well, that was a bit of noise blasting in there then. I've got John Westwood here. He's put, have you got much memory of the crash you had with Chris Morton?
Yeah, vividly. Yeah. Won't forget that one. It was at Birmingham, and I rode at Bellevue in World Championship round on 2 days before on the Saturday night. And I'd never been to Bellevue before, and I won the meeting. It was a preliminary round. The next round was the quarter final, I think. I got through the Bellevue round, won the meeting. There was a 3-man run-off between myself, Michael Lee, I think it was John Davies, the first, second and third. Anyway, I won the run-off. So I was, really pleased. And then Bellevue came to Birmingham on the Monday. And of course, it was Birmingham's first year in the top league. And so I don't know how much Chris Morton knew about me or whether he even went to that Saturday meeting. But I remember we came out the start and I was on the inside of Chris. I don't know if we were on 3 and 4 or what, I've got no idea. But when we got to the first corner, I think I was on 3, he was on 4, I think. But I ran him a bit wide. Nothing, I never fenced him or anything like that. I just run him out a bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think I came down the back straight in the lead. Chris was second. And coming in the first turn, he ran in the side of me, straightened me up, and I was heading straight for the fence. Had to lay it down and went in the bottom of the fence and broke my thigh. So that was my season finished. Never did get any further in the World Championship, and I never rode again that year. But somebody, I do believe Chris Morton wrote a book, and this particular crash he wrote about it in his book.
Okay.
And he said it was deliberate, but he said, I think he put something like Alan Grahame run me wide on the first turn, which got me back up. But in hindsight, it was no worse than I would have done to him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something I'll always regret. But he never ever did say sorry or anything. But I were a Chris Morton fan after that. And in fact, he was in the black book, you know.
Was he?
Revenge was.
Yeah, I've heard these black books. I've heard of these black books.
But what happened was
Mm.
that year, later on that year, I got picked for the England team as reserve at Bristol. And come the interval, I hadn't had a ride, but Peter Collins was riding rubbish, and so was Michael Lee. And then I'm trying to think who the team manager was. Ipswich promoter, John Berry.
John Berry, yeah.
He pulled, I forget who it was, either Chris Morton, either Peter Collins or Michael Lee, pulled one of them out and put me in. And I got the England race jacket on, and I'm partnered with Chris Morton. I'm thinking, well, you know, you can't bear a grudge when you've both got the England team jacket on and supposed to be riding for the same cause and the same end to win. So yeah, I buried the hatchet then, and you know, I've got on all right with Chris ever since.
Well, that's good.
Water under the bridge.
That's good. I did do an interview.
I had a good night actually, because I forget where I finished in that race first. But then Chris, John Berry pulled the other bad guy, Michael pulled him out the next one and put me in, and I think I ended up second top scorer on the night as from reserve. You know, and I hadn't had a ride at the interval, so
that was good to do that. Yeah,
had a good night.
Yeah, very cool. Right, I've got quite a few that people have been writing some questions here. I'm just looking because I haven't wrote their name on there, but I can see it on here. But Howard Bonewell here has put, did you enjoy guesting for other teams?
Yeah, it was always extra pay packets, so give it 100%. And yeah, I enjoyed guesting. I enjoyed riding as often as I could.
I think everyone appreciated that side of you, Al, as well, that you always give 100% for the team and any team that you rode for. I think everyone appreciated that. Robert Moore here has put, Big Al, who used to say, let's go skidding, mate?
I can't remember. Might have been Phil Collins, I think. I can't honestly remember.
We'll have to see if he comes back, if Robert Moore can tell us who that was. I've also got one here from Rob Older. He says, what was your favourite away track?
Well, there was quite a few, but Halifax was one of them. The first time I went to Halifax, I was used to riding tight tracks like Birmingham and Wolverhampton, where you rode around the line. And I went to Halifax and I rode around the line, and it was not the place where you should be riding. I did rubbish. The second time I went, I was getting the hang of it a little bit better, but I did rubbish again. But the third time I went, I'd cracked it, you know, to run up the banking and then come off the banking and all that. And I got it cracked, and I started to do all right at Halifax. And then when Kenny Carter had that bad time with his leg and he was injured, I used to guess for Halifax all the time, you know, at Halifax. Every chance that they could book me in, they'd book me in. And I loved that place, and scored well for Halifax. And I remember a test match there against Denmark. And I remember lining up at the start line. Got Eric Gunderson on the inside and Hans Nielsen on the outside. What am I going to do here? So I had a plan. I'll jump out the start and pin Eric in, and then I'll run up the banking and bugger Hans up, and then turn off the banking and chop Eric's nose off on his way out, and it worked out perfect.
Did it?
I ended up going down the back straight in the lead. So against Eric and Hans, I was over the moon with that one.
Yeah, definitely. They were the two main men back then as well, weren't they?
Oh, yeah.
That was a beautiful one then. So plan come together then.
Yeah, it did that day. Rice, that rice. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Glyn Bouton here on YouTube's put, I'm not sure if my memory serves me right, but did Big Al once arrive at Poole only to find his speedway trailer was not behind him, and it went back and traced his route to find it wedged in the hedge? Is this true?
Part of it's true.
Okay.
It was Oxford, actually, not Poole.
Okay.
One of my helpers' friends who later became a mechanic, Rob Elder, put the trailer on the back of me XR3i. But he didn't clip it on properly. Put the two bolts on. Nigel Lever was my mechanic at the time.
Oh, yeah, Nigel Lever.
And we set off to Oxford. And car, he was driving, I was in the passenger seat, two bikes on the trailer, off we went. We get to there, I'm guessing, probably 10 mile from the house. And we're going towards Stonebridge Island. And I remember he's driving along and he looked in the mirror and he looked back at the road and he had this horrible expression come on his face. And he looked in the mirror again and he looked back at the road and he went, ow, the trailer's not on. Damn it. And I looked at it, oh my God. Like we're 10 more from home, I mean, it could have been anywhere, you know.
Yeah.
And we turned around at the island and we started tracing our tracks. And it was a four-wheel trailer as well. So once it came adrift, it was just going to go forever. And I had visions of pile-ups and all sorts. And we're getting closer and closer to home. And we get to within about, I don't know, half a mile of my house. And there it was, up against the curb by a bus stop with a bloke, a copper on a police bike next to it. So I stopped and he says, is this your trailer? I says, yeah. He said, yeah, we had it reported. Somebody saw it come off your car and everything. And I thought, well, perhaps the coupling must be faulty or something. So I coupled it back onto the car and it seemed to go on all right, but I'm not risking it. So I went back home, took the trailer off, put me rack, my speedway bike rack on, put one bike on the rack, put the other bike in the garage, and then set off to Oxford at Mach 1. And got there. Nigel was driving, and I got changed in the car. And when we got there, they were just going out for heat 1, and I think I was in heat 2. No, heat 3, it might have been heat 3. But I remember one of the races, I don't know if it was heat 1 or heat 2, got stopped and there was a crash and something happened and it did give me a bit of extra time.
Yeah.
But I made the start of my race anyway.
Did you? That's just about I asked you how you got on.
The trailer, it hadn't been clipped on properly. That's why it come off.
Oh, wow.
No. Anyway,
Nigel's for that one.
but I had it happen again in Germany. I was doing a sidecar motocross meeting in Germany, and I was doubling up with me, my my sister's other half, my sister and her other half.
Yeah.
His was in the back of the van, and mine was in a box trailer. And that we had a safety chain, little skinny safety chain from the trailer to the van. And we were driving along the motorway. It was dark, but he'd got the driver's window open a bit, and we heard this tinkle, 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 and then it stopped. And I thought, what was that? Oh, we better pull over and just have a look around the van and the trailer and make sure everything's all right. So we get out the van, walks around the back of the van, no trailer. Oh.
Jesus.
It was dark.
Oh, God.
The trailer was painted dark blue. Obviously, the lights had become disconnected, so there was no lights on it, and it was on the motorway. But luckily, as luck would have it rolled onto the hard shoulder, and the wheel jammed underneath the Armco barrier. So it was on a little bit of a hill, but it got wedged.
Bloody hell.
So we could vaguely see the outline of it, and we thought, is that it down there, And we walked down, and sure enough, it was the trailer. And because when we looked at the back of the van, the coupling was still on the van, but the tube that it was bolted to had snapped.
Bloody hell.
Now, we went reverse down, and we got the axle out, the battery drill, and we bolted the coupling back on a little bit further down, and we got it all sorted out, and we were okay.
Bloody hell.
That was a scary one.
Yes, I could have gone anywhere, couldn't it?
If that would have been stranded in the middle line or something, painted dark blue, vehicles would have crashed into it, and I hate to think what the outcome could have been.
Yeah, so we were quite lucky. Yeah, it's quite lucky, that one. Yeah, it's a couple of trailer incidents there then. Yeah. I got Rob Older. He's put, did you ever get paid for the Irish meeting?
No. Cridley, it was under Peter Adams. Sure, it was Peter Adams. Derek Pugh, that was the promoter. Sorry, the owner, promoter, and Peter Adams was running the show. And we did a meeting in Ireland at Ballymena. And I can't remember it. I think the bikes went over by road and we flew over and did the meeting and flew back. But I won the meeting. It was an individual meeting. And I won the meeting. Never did get paid for it. Peter Adams organised it. I don't know whatever happened to the money. I've got no idea. Never paid.
Oh dear, not good. Great interview as usual. Thank you very much, Sally Ways.
I think I'm undefeated Irish champion.
Not paid. Not penny. Got Simon Corbett put, remember the paid maximum at Brandon in the knockout cup final, you and Jano getting a 5-1 at Bellevue to get through at the Greyhound track?
Yeah, vividly. The semi-finals at Bellevue at the Greyhound track, and we needed a 5-1 in the last race to get us through to the final. It was me and Yano, Chris Morton. I can't remember who the fourth rider was. Eric Gunderson wasn't there for some reason. I don't know if he got a long track commitment or something, but he wasn't there anyway. And me and Yano needed a 5-1, and we both missed the start. So we going in the first corner, we were third and fourth. I took the lead on the back straight, and I led going into the third turn. And I think it took a couple of laps for Yano to get up to second, but we got a 5-1 and we got through to the final, which was against Coventry. The first leg was Saturday night at Coventry, and the second leg was Sunday afternoon at Gridley. I got a paid 15-point maximum at Coventry. And I can't remember my score on the Sunday, but I top scored Sunday as well. We won 50-40 at Coventry, so that was all the hard work done when you can win the away leg. Yeah. And I think we won the home leg 50-40 as well. And the Speedway Star presented the trophy to Cradley, to Eric Gunderson. Previously had a word with Derek Pugh, and they presented the trophy to me to keep, which I've still got now, and it's my lounge on the hearth.
Is it?
Yeah.
Nice.
My daughter used to clean it, but my partner cleans it now.
Oh, I like that. I'll have to see that one day. It'd be nice.
Yeah, souvenir. Yeah, beautiful. We won it three times in a row, so we won it outright, basically.
Yeah.
So it was presented to Cradley to keep, and the management and Eric decided that I'd done well, because I was just getting over my illness, my cancer, and it was when I was coming back on form, and they decided that I'd done well, and they presented it to me to keep, which I was over the moon with.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Like that. That's nice. Very cool. I got Heidi here. She's put, "Hi, Uncle Al. What happened with the car and the fire in Australia?"
Yeah. It was a England tour in Australia, and the first meeting was at Perth. We flew into Perth, and we had to go to the track to do a press thing. TV cameras were there, and it was basically to do an advert to go on the television to promote the test match at Perth. And I think we had to be there for 10 o'clock in the morning. Well, me and Phil, we hired a car, and they were called Rent-A-Wreck. They were cheap. It was called Rent-A-Wreck. So we rented this car. And I think there was 4 of us in it. There was me and Andy, Phil Collins, and Neil Collins. And we set off to go to this press release thing at Claremont. And the blooming engine on the car caught fire. We're going on, there's all smoke coming from under the bonnet. Oh shit, the bloody car caught fire. So we pulls over, we open the bonnet. Well, as soon as we opened the bonnet and all the air got in it, like whoosh, flames coming out of the bonnet. But there was loads of sand by the side of the road, and all 4 of us were grabbing handfuls of sand and throwing it in. Anyway, we managed to put the fire out, as luck would have it. And we found out what the problem was. The petrol pipe going to the car was all rotten and manky. So we cut the end off and managed to reconnect it and codged it on. Anyway, we get to Claremont about half an hour late. Nigel Boocock was ranting and raving. "Where the bloody hell have you been? Late, you know. Bloody should have been here half an hour ago. You load of warts," he was saying. He had a Benny, he did. When the car caught fire. "Well, that's a good excuse," he said.
It's a good one.
Really catch fire. Yeah, when we lifted the bonnet, showed, oh yes, it did catch fire then. Yeah, all the black soot under the bonnet and everything. But yeah, we had a right bollocking off Nigel for doing that.
Thanks for that one, Heidi, there.
It was a laugh.
Bloody
At
hell.
the time now.
Cool. I was going to say, I bet there's a panic on at the time.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I got Anthony Case here. He's put, "Hi Lee, could you please ask Big Al about about the whole days, please? Thanks." I've got some pictures I can put out while you're talking about that as well.
Yeah. Where was I? I'd done Oxford in 84, I think. And the last 2 weeks of the season, I think I rode at Peterborough. Then, 94, Then I did an ice meeting at Hull, at the ice rink in Hull.
Yeah.
And that was at the end of 94. And I did well. And the promoter says, we're hoping to be up and running next season. Would you be interested in being in the team? I said, yeah, I would. Mm-hmm. And I ended up, I signed for Hull for 95. I only did a 1-year deal because I wasn't sure if I'd be able to cope with the travelling, because all the tracks I'd ever rode for was like, I think the furthest track I ever rode for was Swindon, which was like an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
And, it was always Birmingham and Cradley and Oxford, all local tracks.
Yeah.
Anyway, I did a 1-year deal and I loved it. The travelling, it was motorway door to door, so it was no big deal really. And I was welcomed with open arms. They looked after me. And I ended up spending 4 years there, and I loved every minute. But I remember when they signed me, I was 40 years old when they signed me. And they had a talking at one of the radio stations, and the promoter, Dave McCoy, was at the radio station taking questions and trying to promote the Speedway. somebody rang up and said, "What the hell are you doing signing a past his sell-by date 40-year-old Alan Grahame?" And he says, "Oh, I think he'll be a good asset to the team, and pass his experience on to the youngsters." And that. He says, "Well, I think that's a bad move, signing Alan Grahame." Anyway, come the start of the season, I was on form. I think I can't remember if I was captain there, but I did well anyway. And this guy came up to me at the end of one of the meetings, and he says, "I'm the guy that phoned up and said, 'What the hell are you doing signing Alan Grahame?' This 40-year-old has been." And he says, "I eat my words," he says, "because I can't believe, how well you're doing and how good you've been for the team." So, fair play to him for that,
That was nice, yeah. That was
But
nice.
I did enjoy my time there. The promotion was good. Teammates were good. It was all good. I can't say praise it up enough, really. It was a bit of a trick track, Gator's paradise, and I was a pretty good gator. And it was all good. I remember, I can't remember what year it was now, 96, 97, something like that. First six home meetings. Yeah, first six home meetings, I got 6 paid maximums.
Wow.
And then the 7th meeting, I dropped a point, I got paid 14. So,
So it went very well.
It went well, yeah. I had some good times there, real good times.
What's that there, winning that there now? What's that there on the picture? That looks like Peterborough, is it? Possibly? Is that where they did the fours or something, was it?
What is it? It's only 5 of us, so yeah, be 4 in the reserve. Yeah, it must be the 4s at Peterborough, yeah.
Nice.
Jan Stickman, me, Dave McCoy,
Smith.
Yeah, Smith.
Paul Smith, is it?
Crabtree, Paul Smith, Nigel Crabtree, and
Thorpe.
Paul Thorpe.
Paul Thorpe, that's it, Paul Thorpe. What's happening here then now? We said about this off camera, but
it was press and practice day, and I watched all the others go practicing first, and then towards the end, I thought, well, I'll go and do a few laps, and I prepped the bike, but I hadn't secured the throttle cable into the top of the carburettor. And when I shut off after a couple of laps going in the first turn, the cable jumped out the top of the carburettor, out the adjuster, and rested on the side of the adjuster, which meant it was the engine was still going on a fast tick over. And when I shut off, it never shut completely off, if you know what I mean. And it slowly spun round on me, and it span round and spat me off, and I twisted my knee. That was press and practice day, and then I think we got about a week before the first meeting, and luckily it wasn't 100%, but it was good enough to ride. It never sort of slowed me down. Yeah, twisted me knee at press and practice day, that was.
Like that. I got one here. I got the bits from Oxford. Did you enjoy your time at Oxford?
It was all right. Not one of my favourite tracks, but it was okay. Yeah.
And I got one there. You signed there with Andy as well, then?
Yeah, well, we've both got Oxford race jackets. I don't think we rode for Oxford at the same time, but Andy rode for Oxford for many years, and I did a couple of seasons with, about 1.5 seasons with him in the second division. Yeah. When Andy rode for him, they were in the first division then, top league. Yeah.
So you weren't much of a fan of the track at the time?
Pardon?
You weren't much of a fan of the track at the time at Oxford, really?
No, I wasn't at Oxford.
I got Jim Hingley here has put, did Big Al ever like the Dudley stroke Wolves trophy meetings?
I did. That was like epic. Dudley Wolves, they were like World War III, we had to beat Wolverhampton. They obviously wanted to beat us.
Yeah.
They were titanic meat battles, you know.
Yeah.
It was win at all costs. They really were epic meetings. But I remember at one meeting, it was at Wolverhampton, I think, the referee come down to the pits and says, lads, you've got to calm it down. This is like getting past a joke, because we were going at it, like, you know, really going at it. The referee told us to calm it down. Yeah, they were
Wow.
good meetings. They were good meetings.
Just had a message there.
One not to be won.
Yes, I've heard the police escorts out the pits and all sorts of stuff went on then, didn't they, in them days?
Mm.
Right, I've got that was Robert Moore has just said, cheers for letting me know about the throttle cable, mate. I will call you tomorrow. That was from Robert Moore. What else we got here? I got Scott Philpott here has put, hi, hey, Big Al, cracking rider. Do you still have the Knockout Cup? Which we've just mentioned that you still do have the Knockout Cup. I think you would have beaten anyone in them 2 meetings.
Yeah, well, yeah, I was on Formula 9. You know, if you could only keep that sort of form up all the time, it would be great.
Yeah.
But you can't. You have these flashes of form, and I was on form for them 2 meetings. Yeah.
Got Simon also put, do you remember the blatant points dropping to get Crossy in the team? Tape exclusions, engine failures, etc.
Yes, I do. Yeah. Forget what year it was, but Simon wasn't in the team.
Yeah.
And we needed to get him in the team to get us a good, strong team. And it was while we were working up to them first set of green sheets. Yeah, we had to drop points. But we did, and we got him in. And then we had a strong team then. We crossed him.
Yeah, proper strong team. What was there any riders when you were young? Did you look up to in the speedway world that you were sort of looked up to when you were young?
Not particularly, because when I came into speedway, not knowing anybody, well, all I knew was a few second division riders. I never went to Cradley to watch or Wolverhampton to watch. I just used to get to Birmingham on a Monday night, and that was it. One of the riders I looked up to really was Arthur Browning, because when I was a school kid, Arthur Browning was doing the motocross, and he became a works rider, and he only lived a couple of miles from where I lived. And he was my hero in the motocross days. And then when he took to the speedway and came good, you know, I used to look up to Arthur. And he used to help me out as well, you know, if I had bike engine problems, and I'd only got one bike, I'd go and see Arthur, and he used to help me out. So yeah, Arthur looked after me, looked up to Arthur. But not I never had any heroes like Major or Hawson or anybody like that. No.
Okay, interesting. Obviously, I was going to ask you about your time at Swindon. Obviously, you know probably a little bit about obviously my uncle Martin and my dad as well that rode Swindon. So I've obviously always been at Swindon. I remember you coming to Swindon. I think it was what year was that? Was it 86? Was it out?
It's the first time was in 75.
Yeah.
The second time was 86.
What was that like for you when you come out? I remember you coming. I was about 9 years old, I think I was in that.
Well, in 86, what had happened was,
Yeah.
In 85, I think it was, they brought out the 50-point limit.
Okay,
Team build for the teams. Mm-hmm. And Cradley were at about 52 or 53, I can't remember now. And nobody wanted to leave. But the team had to be broke up, basically. So we had a bit of a get-together, a meeting, and we agreed that we were all going to have a year out. So the first year, Yano went to Sheffield for a year, and he was replaced with a rider with a lower average, which got us under the 50 points. And then he came back, and in the following year, it was my turn. I had the short straw, and I went to Swindon.
Mhm.
And when I went to Swindon, I think Stevie Bastable went from Swindon to Coventry, and a Coventry rider went from Coventry to Cradley. It was like a triangular thing. I'm trying to think. It might have been Alan. Was it Alan Rossiter went from Swindon to Coventry, and then Stevie Bastable went from Coventry to Cradley, something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
I had a year out anyway, and I went to
Mm.
Swindon in '86
Mhm.
to get on, so Cradley could get under the 50-point limit thing. But it was only a 1 year deal,
Yeah.
and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm trying to think who the promoter was then. But I did enjoy my year there. But Swindon closed down for about a month in the middle of the season because Swindon went bankrupt or something. And British Car Auctions took it over and honoured all the commitments and the fixtures and everything.
Yeah.
But I
So
loved it. It was a race, proper racers track, fast and good racers track. Loved it.
obviously, I remember the British final. It was 82, wasn't it? When obviously Andy won it, and weren't you runner up?
Yes, I was. Yeah.
There you go. Look, there's both of you getting interviewed on the TV. I believe that was.
Yeah.
And then I think there's a bit there that where he 18, you on the inside there, look, and thing. What's your memories of that then? Obviously, it was very close, and then obviously your brother winning it, you second. What was that like in general, and your memories from that meeting?
That race, the last race,
Yeah.
Andy only needed 2 points to guarantee winning it. I made the start. And Michael had a misfortune on the first corner. The commentator, I think it was Mike Lanning, said that I pushed him wide, but when you analyse it, just as he was going to chip it in, the front wheel lifted and it took him past the corner.
Mhm.
I never touched him, but going down the back straight, I think I was winning. Andy and Chris Morton were battling for second, but Andy got the better of Chris Morton, and he got his 2 points, which is all he needed. And I won it, which gave me 13 points, which put me second. I think Kenny Carter, if he'd have won his last race, could have finished level with me, but he didn't win his last race, so I come second and Kenny was third. Yeah, but it could have been, like, it's all ifs and buts in it,
Was there any conversation between you two before the last race or anything like that?
We was trying to have a think and a chat of what to do, and we thought it could all go, backfire on us and everything. So we just go out, do our own thing, and see what happens. So I just went out and did my best, and I made the start and went on to win it. And Andy knew what he had to do. He had to come second, so he'd got to do his damnedest to beat Chris Morton, which luckily, fortunately, he did.
Yeah.
Well, that made him win the meeting, When I looked over the shoulder at the finish and Andy was second, I was chuffed for him.
Yeah.
Because, I was second at the time, but could have been beaten. But, Kenny could have got 13 and we'd had to have a run off, but that never came. That didn't happen. So, yeah, all good. Couldn't have come second to anybody, If I were going to come second to anybody, it'd be Andy.
Yeah, that's it. So it all worked out.
It's still in the family then, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly that. That worked out nicely. I was going to ask you in general, what was it like having a brother? Obviously, and you were both quality riders as well, quality British riders. What was it like? Was there much competitiveness between you two?
Obviously, we're the best of mates on and off the track, but the competitiveness, it was like tremendous. Really was. I always wanted to beat him. He always wanted to beat me. Pride at stake. It was like that since we were little kids, even when we had a Sky Electric, I always wanted to beat him and he always wanted to beat me.
Yeah.
it's always been competitive. Oh, the phone's going off. So it's always been competitive. So there was nothing untoward there. But my dad did say the one day if there was any dirty riding between us, he'd bang our heads together. He said.
Yeah, like that.
We used to keep score at one stage, or the mechanics did. How many times I beat Andy and how many times he beat me.
Did you?
Well, I remember knocking Andy off once. And I remember him knocking me off once, but it was accidental, you know.
You never had crosswords in the pits with each other before then?
He called me everything under the sun once at Oxford, but it was my own fault because I knocked him off. I couldn't apologise enough. It was all my fault. And I did apologise straight away. It was Oxford versus Gradley at Oxford, and they'd had a lot of rain. And coming in the third turn, it was all wet and stodgy and all sticky and horrible. And Hans was in the race. Andy and me, I can't remember who the other rider was. It might have been Eric. But anyway, I'm coming into the third turn on the first lap. Andy was third, I think, and I was fourth, I think. But I was behind Andy anyway. And they'd all gone wide round this stodgy patch. It was a massive opening. And I thought, I'm going through this stodgy bit, I'm going to pass him up the inside. Well, it all went tits up. I went into this stodgy bit, I dived in, and I couldn't turn the bike. I couldn't turn it. And I just T-boned him in the side. Went him over the fence. We both crashed big time. He goes,
dear.
What the bloody hell do you think you're doing, you idiot? He was going. But it was just too invited, you know. I thought, I wasn't.
Saw the gap and went for it.
Yeah, and couldn't turn it until he bound him and knocked him off. I got excluded, obviously. But he had me off at Cradley once, first turn.
Yeah.
And, he went back to the pit gate and he was going, oh, Al's going to kill me when he comes back to the pit gate. Whatever. Yeah.
Did he say sorry for that one?
More than likely, I can't remember.
Oh, I love it. Nothing like brotherly love. Dean Ashbridge here has put, what a night, the Golden Hammer, 1984, Big Al, the champ.
Yeah, it's one, you know, it's a privilege to get invited and to one everybody. It was the big meeting of each day, sponsored by the Daily Mirror. It was always a good lineup. I've been in it a few years and never really, you know, I hadn't got on the rostrum. But this year, 84 was one of my good years and everything went right, really. And had to have a run-off with Phil Collins, but fortunately, I won the run-off. So I won it, Phil second and Billy Sanders third.
Yeah, I think I got the picture there. Look, I found that one. that was a good memory then.
Yeah, good memory. I've still got that one. That one's on the mantelpiece, the Golden Hammer.
Oh, nice. As well with the knockout cup as well. Loving it.
Yeah.
Because that was pretty much like you could have a one-off world final lineup. That was always like that as well, wasn't it? In the Golden Hammer.
The Golden Hammer always had a cracking one.
Yeah.
Worthy of a world final. Yeah.
Yeah, very special meeting as well. Right, let's have a look what's going on here. Got J Marks on YouTube's put that world final at Wembley though. What could have been, and have you ever thought about if you could have started the meeting? What's that about?
Wembley though. What could have been?
You didn't ride it there. Where you rode in Sweden, didn't you, in the world final, Alan?
Started the meeting. Yeah, it was Sweden. It was at Gothenburg.
Yes, Sweden. Yeah, I thought it was.
84. Yeah, it was 84. I think. Eric Gunnarsson won it. But I was reserve, and I come the interval. I hadn't had a ride, and I always remember that meeting. You go fully prepared as if you might get in, and it was at the time, like back in the day, where you could use. I think it was. I think it was either Dunlops or Carlisle's,
Mm-hmm.
and I went with about 6 wheels. I think 3 with Dunlops on, and 3 with Carlisle's on. Was it Pirelli's? Anyway, I had three Dunlops and 3 of the other mate.
Yeah.
And come the interval, I hadn't had a ride, and it seemed that Pirelli was the tyre to use. And I got 3 wheels there with like new tyres on. I think I got 5 edges, 2 new tyres, and I think the one in the bike had only got 1 new edge on or something. But riders were coming up, "Ow, can I buy that back wheel off you? Can I buy that tyre off you?" And I thought, what are it's the interval. What are the chances of me getting a ride now? A bit remote. And I don't want to be nasty and say no, because at the end of the meeting, if they're still sitting there, they're going to say, "Oh, miserable so and so." He could have sold me one of them, and so I let the 2 go, and then lo and behold, after the interval, somebody got injured, and I got a ride. Well, I got a new edge on the bike anyway, so I went out. I won that. I made the gate and I won it, so I was chuffed with that. Then I had another ride. Of course, I didn't have no new edges. The 2 tyres I'd sold them. They were going to be replaced or whatever. And I just thought, well, I'll just go out with the same edge on, But I come second in that one. So I had 2 rides. I had a first and a second, 5 points, 11th on the day. And like you say, who knows what could have been.
Yeah.
But in reserve, of course, there's no pressure really. So that's a different side of it.
Yeah.
But Eric won it. Hans Nielsen was second in the meeting, and Lance King was third. And I remember Derek Pugh saying Cradley could have had all 3 places on the rostrum if I'd have got in from the start.
Yeah.
You never know, do you? I was just glad to have got a ride, really.
And to win it as well, first time out.
And to sort of prove a point.
Mm.
I mean, our Andy was reserved for the Los Angeles Coliseum, American final.
Mm-hmm.
He went to America and practiced on the Friday. And in practice, he was the fastest rider there, and he never got a ride. So what might have been, you never know. There's some buts in it.
It just proves that you definitely could do it.
In a world final. At least I did get a ride in the world final, albeit reserved.
And won.
Yeah.
Exactly that. I got Christopher Day has put, ask Alan how he and Andy used to soften their tyres.
No comments.
I remember the days about. I remember when riders got stopped in the end and they used hairspray and all sorts, weren't they?
Yeah,
I heard them ones.
Brake fluid, all sorts of stuff. Anything that would soften the rubber. It was one year. I forget what year it was now. 96, I think it was. They brought in a hard compound tyre to try and slow the racing down. But it was that hard, you couldn't get no grip, and everybody, including me and Andy and lots of other riders, we were all trying to figure ways to soften the rubber. I mean, there was a catalogue of Demon Tweaks, it was called. They had a place somewhere, racing car stuff, and they used to sell it in 5-litre containers, tyre softener. All the go boys used to use it, apparently. So you could buy the stuff, and people were trying it, and it was definitely made a difference. But then some riders were using it and some weren't, and the powers that be clamped down on it. And this is why now you have to fit the tyres at the start of the meeting. So there's no time for anybody to tamper with tyres.
Yeah.
You buy them at the meeting at 6:30, put them on and use them.
Yeah.
And that's why it was to try and stop all the tyre softening and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, we've got Gary Clegg here has put a great team rider next to my favourite of all time, Alan Wilkinson. Great listening to his tales from the past.
Yeah, Alan Wilkinson, great bloke.
Yeah. I got also who put that? I'm not sure who wrote that one, but they put give us one of your funniest moments with Big Arthur Browning on and off the track.
I can't think, to be honest. He came to Australia with us as mechanic the year that Andy came. It was a good team. I mean, I went with my wife, Diane. There was Andy, both Phil and Neil Collins, Arthur Browning. It's all going from home, that tour. But, I forget why, but Arthur ended up staying in a caravan somewhere, and there was bloody red-back spiders in it and all sorts. He only stayed in it once. He was off. I ain't staying there anymore. And he caught a train back to Sydney. Yeah, that was one thing I remember about Arthur. But I've had some good times with Arthur. I remember 1975 it was. And in 74, well, Birmingham used to have a meeting called the Double Diamond Best Pairs, sponsored by Double Diamond Lager. And in 74, I was partnered with Phil Hearn, and he scored a load of points, and I scored one or something, rubbish I was. Let him down. But the following year, I was partnered with Arthur, 75, which is my first proper year. And I thought, God, I don't want to let Arthur down like I let Phil Hearn down last year. But I was riding a lot better then. I got better equipment and all the rest of it. And I actually scored more points than Arthur. Only because his chain, he was leading me in one race. He was first, I was second, and his chain came off. I went on to win the race, and Arthur had a DNF. But we won the meeting, and then we went out celebrating afterwards. That was one of the highlights of the second division days. Plus, we won the league and everything. So that was all good.
So, was your favourite track in the UK? Was obviously Dudleywood, Cradley.
Cradley, yeah, definitely Cradley. Yeah.
What about your favourite rider to team ride with?
Pretty well got to be Phil Collins.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were out together for years and years. And we had an understanding. We were like telepathic, I think. Knew what each other were going to do, and we never argued over gate positions, and we were good together. We could ride inches apart, no problem. Oh yeah, that was. I ran up the back of Phil. Oh no, I avoided him. That was it. We were coming out the second turn.
Yeah.
And his chain come off, or his bike slowed for some reason, and I was on the inside of him.
Yeah.
Only my front wheel was level with his back wheel spindle or back sprocket.
Yeah.
And suddenly he slowed down. No, sorry, that was it. We'll say, I don't know, say 3 or 4 foot behind him, that was it. Yep. And his bike slowed. And if I'd have kept going, I would have run into his back sprocket and we'd have both come off. So what I had to do was at the last minute change from going up the inside of him to go on the outside of him. So I turned to the right and I missed him, but then I'm heading towards the fence, just not entering the back straight, and I turned away from the fence, but I sort of wall of death the fence to the track and ended up coming off. That was the photo after I'd come off. Yeah.
I know. Obviously, you always used to use the open face mask. Was that just something you preferred over the full face helmet, or was there a reason specifically for that? Or
I didn't like the full face helmet, so I tried wearing one, around the house, and I just didn't like being closed in. So I persevered with the open face, and I did eventually go to full face because I was probably, I don't say the only rider, but I probably was the only rider still using open face.
Yeah.
And I thought, I need to change. So in the end, I bought a Premier from Bert Harkins at a show, and I used to wear it around the house, and when I was driving my van to try
Try
and
and
get
get
used.
used to it.
Yeah,
Did you? Here
and
it
now,
is.
yeah, now I wouldn't go back to an open face helmet now. Now I've
Yeah.
got used to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, the same with
There
the
it
back
is.
protector. I never had a back protector for ages,
Mm.
and other riders were using them. And I went to get measured up for a set of leathers, and the guy says, "Made to measure leathers," and he said, "Do you wear a back protector?" I said, "No." And he went and got one. He said, "Put that on. You're going to wear one from now on." He said, and then he measured me around the back protector, and from then on, I wore one. It's just, I don't know, setting your ways really.
Mm.
But,
You and Crossy there. Did you get on well with Simon Cross?
most of the time, yes, yeah,
Most of the time.
most of the time.
Did you used to have falling outs as well, did you?
Yeah, we fell out once or twice, but mainly it was good. It was
Yeah.
good, yeah.
Yeah. I had a good interview with him as well, and he lives out in France now. It was interesting. I see some of you as well indoors here as well. What was your thoughts on this? I see
I didn't enjoy it.
no.
It was at Wembley,
Yeah.
um, and I come off a few times. I remember, I think I was out on my own practicing. We're allowed to practice,
Mm.
but I didn't understand. The more laps you did, the hotter the tyre got, the more sticky it became. So if you just do 4 laps and stop, you're all right. But I must have done about 8 laps. Just kept going round and round and round. And then the one lap, I threw it into the corner, and the tyre had got that hot and sticky, it just never broke away, and I just went straight through the fence. And I thought that was a big learning curve. But I think the carburetor was flooding or something. So at the start line, I was getting like a pool of methanol under my bike. Well, that's no good to get a good start, is it?
No.
Especially I didn't have a good meeting. Didn't particularly enjoy it. No, I did a couple of ice meetings, one at Telford and one at Hull, and I enjoyed them. They were all right actually, better than I thought they were going to be. Yeah.
So you had some great relationships with some of the Cradley guys. Obviously, I did really enjoyed the Eric Gunderson, and I did Eric Gunderson with Bruce Pennell as well. It was really cool. As you and that's one of the knockout cups, I would imagine, is it?
That is the day we won it. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
taken at Cradley on the Sunday.
Yeah.
The day that we won it. Yeah, the day that
Beautiful.
presented it to me. Yep, 88. Yeah, no.
Did you get on well with Yano as well?
We got on brilliant with Yano.
Mm.
Yeah, and Bruce and Eric. Yeah, and
Another one
Greg
there.
and
Look.
Bill. Yeah, got on great with all of them.
There's you, Phil, as well, isn't it? And
Yeah, and Eric. Yeah, had hair then.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nice one there.
Eric, Lance, Bruce, Andy Reid, Phil Collins, Peter Adams, me, and Ian Gledhill, I think.
You would have thought that Peter Adams would have ended up at Wolves all these years.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a nice one there. Is that Wiggy? I think Simon Wigg on the outside. It looks like.
It looks like
Maybe.
Simon Wigg, yes, but GR Gordon. Yeah,
Mm.
Simon Wigg, yeah.
Did you get on well with him?
Yeah, got on great with Simon. Yep. Great guy. Yeah, really great guy.
Got another one here. I think that's potentially a Moran brother, I think.
I'm not sure who that is.
Might be Sean Moran, possibly.
Could be.
What did you think of the Moran brothers?
Absolutely great people. Yeah, they were. You could race handlebar to handlebar for 4 laps and know nothing was going to happen. There's no dirty tactics involved. They were gentlemen on the track. And thoroughly enjoyed racing with them, and they were great kids as well. Yeah.
Got a nice one
Kelly
here.
used to sponsor me a little bit with Oakley tear-offs and stuff like that. Yeah. We got there Troy Pratt, Andy, Colin Pratt, Billy Hamill, me, and Greg. I rub shoulders with the best.
Yes, for
Oh,
sure. Is that?
there's 5 world champions in the cradle team during my time there.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
Billy,
Mega.
well, Bruce, Eric, Yano, Billy, and Greg. Yeah, so
You had your testimonials. What do you remember about them? I think you had one for their manhole. Was that right?
87. I had 2. I had
Yeah.
one for 10 years at Cradley.
Uh-huh.
That was a 14 tournament. And I had one at Hull as well, a 25-year testimonial. That was in 90.
I think it says 97 on the program. Is that right?
97 in 97.
97. Yeah. That's
And
it.
then I did 1 year after that, 98, and then I packed up. Why I decided to pack up was
Yeah.
it's a people had been asking me for 10 years how much longer I was going to carry on riding. I used to say, a couple of years, couple of years, couple of years. And I was saying that for 10 years. And I don't know, although I was enjoying it, it's in the back of your mind, when do you pack up? I remember asking Dave Jessup this question
Yeah.
because he signed a 3-year contract with, I think it was Mildenhall, I think, in the second
Yeah.
division.
Yeah.
And he only did 2 years. And he was like, no one won every race he was in. He was like taking sweets off kids, He's like, and then he never did the 3rd year of his contract, which I found strange. I did ask him when he was doing his track van at Arena Essex. I said, why didn't you do the 3rd year? He said, I just knew it was time to pack up. He said, I'd had enough. I said, well, how do you know when it's time to pack up? He said, you'll just know when it's time to pack up. I went, okay. So I made a mental note of that. And then what happened with Hull was I'd done 4 years there and I loved every minute. But the following year, they were going to go into the 1st division. And I'd done, like, I don't know, I'm guessing 15 years 1st division at least. And I just thought, I've been there, got the T-shirt. I don't want to go back in the 1st division. I'm 2nd division now, and I've been happy here, winning races, which everybody loves. And I didn't want to go back in the 1st division. I just thought, this is somebody trying to tell me it's time to back up. So I just hung my leathers up, and that was it. I was 44 at the time. So I thought, I've had a good innings.
Was that difficult to sort of get used to that? Or how was that?
Had I not done anything, yeah, I think it would have been hard to accept. But because I went out and bought a motocross bike straight away,
Yeah.
and the following year I was doing motocross nearly every week, it didn't bother. I didn't miss the speedway really, to be honest.
Yeah. So it was all right. You were still getting your bike fix.
It's when you're not doing anything, and
Yeah.
your mind keeps drifting back to it, and that I think that's when it's hard to accept.
Yeah, makes sense.
But when you're fully occupied and you ain't got time for anything, just racing, prepping bikes, working,
Busy.
I had to go to work then and get a proper job.
Yeah. What was that like? What was that like after all them years of racing?
It was fine. It was only 10 minutes from my house.
Yeah.
One of the directors was an ex-speedway rider, and we were lucky. Andy worked there, and the other brother Johnny worked there. All 3 of us worked there, and we were looked after. And 10 minutes from the house, and I enjoyed it. It was engineering, which I enjoyed doing. I served an apprenticeship doing, and we were in research and development, so it was all interesting stuff. And yeah, I enjoyed it.
That was good then. I got Paul Stokes here has said, thanks for the great memories. And how did you find the Cradley versus Coventry? Always spectacular as well.
Well, of course, you always want to win. I think back in the day, Coventry was a bit of a gating track, to pass. But the rivalry was not the same as the Wolverhampton rivalry.
Cradley.
Not by far. But obviously, you still want to win. Local, it's local derby, isn't it? The best.
I remember this picture. I remember this as a young kid. Remember this. I always remember that iconic picture.
Is at Wimbledon, Berger Grand Prix final. And had the television not been there, it would have been rained off. I'm 100% sure of that. Because the TV were there, they just put it was pouring with rain. They just put loads of sawdust on it, and it was like liquid slurry. The track was, and if you didn't make the gate, that's what you looked like. But hey, yeah.
Did you have any? Did you have any superstitions with the old racing and bike riding at all? You got any of those? Any weird ones?
I never used to wear green. That was about it, really.
Oh, was it? It was all right on the Cradley bits of green.
Cradley colours were green. I wouldn't wear green socks or t-shirt or anything like that.
Right, okay, yeah, I'm with you. What was that like for you? Obviously, representing your country, you must have been proud to do that, even at young age.
Yeah, it was great, and like Les Collins there. I mean, he was young.
Yeah, seen Les. Yeah,
the long hair. No hair now.
you were all rock stars then, weren't you?
Yeah. Yeah, good times, I mean, there's nothing better than putting the England flag on your chest and riding for your country.
Is that a British final, potentially? I'm not sure. Preview there. Yeah, I'm not sure which one that is. As a sort of when you obviously did a lot of individual and team riding, did you prefer to be part of a team than racing individually, or did you like both the same? Or
I liked them both, but I probably enjoyed the team riding more.
Yeah. Who were your closest friends then, Alan, over your speedway sort of career? Who were the guys that were sort of closest to you that you got on with the best?
Well, all my teammates, really. Well, whatever team I rode for, I always get on great with all my teammates. Yeah, there's Eric, one of Eric. How come he ain't got a... Oh, probably because it was British final and he was watching, maybe.
Yeah, it looks like it, yeah.
But, yeah, all my teammates, yeah. There's not many people I didn't get on with.
Got some nice team photos as one of the Cradley champions, look.
Yeah. Peter, Ron, me, Crossy, Eric, Peter Adams, Yano, Wiggy. I think that one, the other photos, I think the photo is Lance.
Yeah.
And Phil Collins. Yeah.
Hell of a side that, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Another earlier one there, look, as well, with Bruce and you and Phil together there on the end, I think.
Yeah. Me, Phil, Peter Adams, Bruce on the bike. I think that might be Ian Gledhill. No, Andy Reid, then Ian Gledhill, then Lance, then Ian Gunderson.
Some great old teams there. What was that one for? It's like a testimonial of some sort. Is you and Eric at the front? Was that for Eric? I think I can see a picture of Eric.
It was. See, Eric's not got his kit on.
Yeah.
I think the Eric Gunderson farewell meeting at Cradley.
Ah, right, okay.
Pretty sure that's what it was. Yeah, his farewell meeting at Cradley, I'm sure.
What a lineup of riders that is. Whew. I can see Hans right on the end, I think, and the black.
I think that's Hans on the left.
Yeah, Tommy Ned's son. Jorgensen. Is that John Jorgensen?
Yeah.
John Jorgensen, Gert Hamburg, Sam Malenko, Rick Miller. Excuse me. Sneezing.
They're there, aren't they? Andy
There's a
Smith,
nicer one here. Got a nice older one there.
Bastable Murray, Pecker. Can't
Is
think of
that
his name.
Perks? Is that Perks?
I can't think who number 2 is. Bruce.
I don't know.
Bruce Cribb, Pekka Houtamaki, Dave Perks. He's Danish, that number 2. And he was Eric's mentor.
Someone else I know it.
He rode for Bellevue before he come to Cridley. I can't think of his name.
Someone's just put Wayne on the right. Is it Wayne? Who's put Wayne Jackson? Was that
No.
another picture? Was that another pictures? Oh, someone's put Christian. Is it Prasbro?
Christian Pricebro, yeah.
Prasbro, that's it. There you go. Thanks for that, guys. The guys normally get on it. They spot him quickly. There's a nice. It's at Reading, isn't it?
Yeah, Reading.
What did you think of Reading?
Yeah, it was an all right track. Reading was okay.
A nice one there of is that you in Tatum, I think. That's probably a British final at Coventry by the looks of it.
Yeah.
What did you weren't keen on that the Coventry track, were you? Did you say?
No, when it was slick in the early days, I weren't keen.
Yeah.
But in the later days, when there was a bit of dirt on it, was okay. Yeah.
It's like 70s, isn't it? That one?
Late 70s.
Looks like a little get together there. Is that all the whole guys, isn't it? By the looks of it. See steady there.
That would have been. We had a fundraising night at Hull because I think the whole track had closed down then. The track had been ripped up and the rugby pitch replaced, but we had a fundraising night for Steadley.
Yeah.
It was one of them horse racing nights where you bet on the horses. And everybody just turned up to support him on that fundraising night.
Nice.
I think go half of them are though.
Can you remember who came out with the first one of calling you Big Al? Then where did that? Do you know where that come from?
Bruce Pennell, 1978.
Bruce Pennell, was it?
Yeah, they had some shop in America called Big Al's, and he just started calling me Big Al. Yeah, 78.
Like that.
First year at Cridley.
Awesome. Did you have any regrets at all in your career, Alan?
Chris Morton breaking my leg. Because I think I'd have gone on to achieve, I would have had a good season. Stopped me in my tracks. But other than that, no regrets really. No, none that I can think of now.
Did you have? That was obviously a big injury. Was there any other injuries that sort of you felt like sort of stopped you from achieving more?
I broke a shoulder in Australia, but that was, when I say it was no big deal. I only missed one meeting. It was right at the end of the tour. And I was fit for the start of the English season. I had a bad injury at Hull. I'd done the ligaments in my shoulder. That ruined the end of my season. But I've had a few broken collarbones and things, but nothing really bad.
Andrew Smith has put, didn't Big Al ever fancy becoming a team manager? I think he would have been a good manager with his experience and his fiery character.
No, that side of it, management side, never appealed to me whatsoever.
No. So obviously we mentioned a couple of little run-ins with some riders. Were there any riders that you always seem to sort of come together with out on the track? Any riders you didn't particularly racing with that you thought were dangerous, or is there any riders like that?
Do I have to mention their names?
Yeah, yeah, they've all done it. They've all done it.
um, there, there's a couple of three riders. Neil
Okay.
Levitz was one.
Oh yeah, no, that's
Neil Levitz. And trying to think who else it was. There was a couple of others, but I can't even remember the names. It's that long ago because it was like in the 80s, late 70s, early 80s. But no, Neil Levitz was one of them, yeah.
you used to come together with him quite a bit then, did you?
Yeah, we did. We had a few comings together. I don't think he liked me, and I didn't particularly like his riding style,
Okay.
shall we say.
Yeah, okay. We'll leave it as that. Who, if I had to push you and say who were the three best riders that you ever competed against in your career, who would you say those three were?
There's too many to mention, isn't there?
I know.
Straight away, you just think of the world champions, don't you? Like
Yeah.
Hans, Eric,
Yeah.
Yano,
Mm.
Bruce, Ivan, Ollie. You know, I couldn't list it down to three. No.
Okay. If you had to give some advice to any youngsters out there that wanted to become a pro spear rider, what would your advice to be to them guys?
If you want to be a pro speedway rider, don't give up your day job. Because the moment you give up your day job, you rely on them speedway earnings to live.
Mm.
And if you're not doing particularly well, you can still live, but you've got no money left to improve your equipment, and your equipment might go downhill because you can't afford to maintain it to a high standard. I mean, when I started, I worked my day job and raced speedway for 3 full seasons, and it did get a bit hectic. But I had 2 wage packets every week, you know, and the beauty of that was that I could have new bikes and buy myself a better car and have, you know, not skimp on the bikes because I could live off my money from work,
Mm.
and all the speedway money was just ploughed back in basically.
Mm.
If you haven't got that safety net, you know, it makes it much more difficult.
So the advice is to make sure you've got a trade as well, as it were.
Oh yeah, if you've got a trade, you can always go back to that if things don't work out.
Mm.
But also you've got to be dedicated, determined, and make sacrifices along the way. You know, things that you would like to do, partying and stuff like that. You know, early night because you're riding the next night and all that sort of stuff. There's sacrifices to be made, but you have to be prepared to make them.
I'll only ask you a couple more questions. We've had a great time with you. Were you into the sort of the mechanics side of things as well? Were you into the obviously engines? I know you were obviously said you like your engineering and all that as well. So I'm gathering that you were quite into doing your own bikes and things like that, and on the technical side.
Yeah,
of it.
yeah. I'm tight, I suppose. I like to do as much of it by myself as pay, but rather than pay other people to do stuff for me. Build my own wheels, straighten my own frames, build my own engines. Because I've had an engineering background, that made a big difference. My dad was an engineer. We had a workshop at home, so I could always watch my dad. And when I was struggling, I'd ask him advice and he'd put me right, you know. Not pay other people to do stuff that I could do myself. You know, I used to prep all my own bikes, and Eddie Boy used to do my engines. But what I used to do was buy a brand new engine, give it straight to Eddie, or buy it through Eddie, and he would breathe on it and do all the trick things to it and put all the special parts in it and port it and all that. And then from that day on, I pretty well used to maintain myself. In the early days, I didn't have a press, and I used to go to Eddie Spring to do my cranks and things. But then I got a press and used to do my own cranks. But Eddie was always my backup man with engines. If I had difficulties, go to Eddie and he'd sort me out. But I remember quite early on, I bent a frame. I didn't know what to do really. My dad said, "You need a jig." So what I did, I bought a brand new diamond. It was a Java diamond from Brigo, and I made a jig. I made the jig fit the new frame, and so when you put it on the jig, all the bolts just dropped in and lined up. And then obviously, if you crashed and you took it off the bike and put it on the jig, if it didn't fit the jig, it meant it was bent. So then you would, bend it and hammer it and do a jump on it and until it did fit the jig. And once it fitted the jig, it was straight again. And the times, I made that jig flip me. I've still got it.
Have you?
Now I'm 67 now, and I made it when I was about 21. But God, the number of frames I've straightened on that jig, not just for me, but for other riders, and earns its weight in gold, I think, that jig.
I got a nice comment here from Paul Lavender. He's put, Alan was a massive help to me when I used to mechanic for Bodger. Him and Bruce Cribb, lots of information, taught me a lot. Thank you, Al.
You're welcome, Paul. No problem.
Did you ever have like help go with you? Did you ever have any guys come and be mechanics on the night for you or anything like that? Did you have any good relationships with some guys?
Oh, I had quite a few mechanics over the years. But I pretty well used to prep my own bikes, and they used to come to the meetings with me and drive the car, stand at the meeting, load up, unload, drive home. But that was their main role. But I used to pretty well do my own bikes. I had Soapy Lever, Rob Elder, Rob Moore. I had quite a few mechanics. My brother Andy mechanicked me the first few years.
Did he?
Yeah, he did, yeah. He used to skive off work and stuff.
Go out on the adventure on the road and go to Speedway. Why not?
Yeah, but I've had some good mechanics over the years.
Yeah, a few of them have been on tonight by the looks of it.
Yeah.
Reminiscing. That was really good. Is there any, is there any other sports you like watching, Andy?
Alan even.
I just said Andy there, didn't I?
I watch Formula One. I watch MotoGP. And I did watch the Speedway GPs. I don't really watch any football, rugby. Watch a bit of snooker, but I couldn't watch a match from start to finish. I would just keep nipping in and checking out what the score is and nipping out, and because the frame, the matches are so long. But I don't think I could watch a match from start to finish at snooker. But I like to follow who's got knocked out and who's still in, who's in the semis and who's in the final. I watch a bit of snooker, but other than that, no.
Obviously, I don't know if you know anything about that's why I just mentioned Andy instead of calling you Alan, because I had Andy on the brain before I forgot about that. I don't know if you know about Andy's coming to my meeting, my reunion meeting that I'm having down in Devon in September. I don't know if you're going to be able to come down as well.
I've said to Andy I'll come, but the thing is, Lord, I don't do solos. It's been years since I had a solo motocross bike. I used to have one to play on in the winter. I had a few over the years. But the sidecar motocross is my thing at the moment, and obviously you've got no sidecars there. But there's a British sidecar championship meeting the same day as well.
Oh, right, okay.
And my lads riding in it. So
Right, okay.
I'm torn between going to watch my son
Yeah.
and coming to that meeting.
Yes.
Maybe I might come to your meeting actually. Bring me a sidecar outfit and have a few laps,
Yeah, I actually did say to Andy, I said about bringing to Gio, I said, bring the sidecar. It'd be good to see you and Andy out on it together. It'd be cool.
But Andy's been out of it for a while, and it's grueling being a passenger.
Yeah. Would you have someone else that could go around with you on it?
Possibly. And the other thing was, I can't start it.
Yeah.
Maybe one of these ones with a button on the handlebars. That's what I'm doing.
Do these bump?
They do. I mean, it's the Zybel engine. It's like 700cc single cylinder two-stroke.
Yeah.
They're quite. My leg ain't strong enough anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see.
There'll be some good catching up to do if I'd be able to come. I think Chris Louis is having a little ride. Alan Rossiter's having a ride. Ollie Allen, Robbie Kessler. There's a few Speedway guys. Paul Lee, Richie Hawkins gonna have a go. Yeah, there's a few of them coming down. So yeah, it should be. Oh, Ronnie Corrie's going to come and watch as well with his boys. So there's a few guys coming down. So yeah, there should be quite a few Speedway guys around.
The date of it.
It's the 4th and 5th of September.
Okay. Right.
But the Legends thing is on the Sunday, but there's obviously like racing all weekend, but the Legends are doing their couple of sessions on the Sunday, so on the 5th.
What's happening on the Saturday?
They'll be racing all weekend, basically. There's like sort of 8 groups of racing, all the old Evo bikes and modern bikes, a mix of all of it. So
okay,
racing all weekend. So people are generally going down on the Friday and staying all weekend pretty much. So yeah.
Okay.
But you'll have to let us know. It'd be good if you could come down. It'd be cool.
Okay.
Really appreciate your time, Alan.
No problem.
Enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's been good. Reminiscing the good old days. I always at the good old days.
Yeah. We've had 100 people online, live all night. So I'm sure this will get out there a lot more as well. Once this has been recorded, and I'll put it back out there as well. And a lot of people will see it. So really good. I really appreciate it. Thanks ever so much, Alan.
No problem. Okay.
Much appreciated. Cheers, buddy. Take it easy.
Cheers.
Thanks, mate. Bye. What a ledge. Mr. Alan Grahame there, people. Everyone enjoyed that. That was awesome. Hope you enjoyed that. We had a lot on tonight as well, on live, which is great. That was brilliant. I could still see more questions going in. We've done a brilliant 2 hours with Alan. Much appreciated as well to all the Grahame family there. He was at Andy Graham's house tonight. Much appreciated to all that sorted that out. Jill as well, sorting that out on the new laptop, I believe. It's great to get all the guys from all the eras. It's beautiful. A lot of nice words being said. A lovely man and a great rider. Happy days. Great seeing Big Al. Thanks, Lee. No problem. Pleasure was all mine getting these legends on. It's been awesome. So yeah, just to keep you updated on the thing, like I said, I've got the bike competition going now. So if anyone wants any numbers on the bike competition, you can contact me on Facebook, any social medias. My number's sort of on my websites, and you'll be able to catch that up easily. The next interview I'm probably doing is this Monday night, 7 p.m. UK time, with a MX American legend, Talon Voland. So hopefully we can get that sorted out. And also I'm looking to do a Swedish motocross legend next week as well, Jorgen Nielsen. GP Stye won the Hawkstone British Grand Prix, was in the Swedish Motocross the Nations team as well. Hopefully get to sort that out as well. On my Motocross and Speedway Memories BSMA reunion meeting, I've just got a few replacement positions that are possible out there. There's 3 spots that I'm looking to replace some riders. There's 2 spots for the 125 Super Evo group that are available. And there's 1 possible spot for the 125 Evo or 250-500 Evo, either of those. So that's 3 places to replace there. And then there's just 3 other spots left I've got in the Super Evo group, 250 stroke 500cc. So if anyone wants any of them, they can contact me on that. Thank you very much, Gary. Much appreciated. Great to have another one on tonight. There was up to 100 people on live at times tonight as well, so that was awesome. That everyone was looking forward to seeing Alan. Thank you very much, Jill. Much appreciated for your time. Great to get both Andy and Alan on, so much appreciated, Jill. And I will see you guys, hopefully Alan as well, but I know you and Andy are coming to the Motocross and Spear Memories weekend, so that'd be awesome to get you guys down there, and hopefully we can get Alan there as well. No problem at all, Dave. What a legend indeed. Big Al. So Bruce Pennell give Al the Big Al nickname then. Got him there, Mr. Steve Irvine, that hooked me up, look, with Eric Gunderson there, so it was quite cool that I had them in the background. You can see Bruce Pennell down here as well, so that was cool. The meeting in September, Gary, is in Whiteway Barton. The track's called. It's in Whiteway Barton is the name of the track, and it's got a lot of history there. Used to have British Championships there with the likes of British legends, Dave Thorpe, Kurt Nichols, all them guys racing there. They used to have a famous trophy meeting there, big massive trophy. They called it the Patchwick Trophy as well. As a massive trophy. They used to do that down at Whiteway Barton as well. It's basically in Newton Abbot in Devon. So yeah, people can come there. They're camping. We've got 2 big fields of camping, and then down by the trackside there'll be all the pits. 2 fields for all the riders, because there's going to be a lot of riders there. There's going to be 352 riders racing over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, the 4th and 5th of September. So people will be going there from sort of Friday afternoon, getting down to the track, camping over the weekend. People can stay even on the Sunday night if they wish as well, before returning back on the Monday, whatever people wish. And yeah, it's going to be a proper family weekend. There'll be all the catering. There's going to be a beer tent. There'll be a DJ in the beer tent as well. Another former motocross rider is going to do that, Benji Cockrell, which would be cool. It was basically sort of a reunion of all the British Schoolboy Motocross Association. That's what the BSMA stands for. I raced that myself as well in the 90s. Massive reunion of riders, but it's open to all as well. So yeah, it should be a really cool weekend. And obviously we got the Legends thing on the Sunday as well. So there'll be a practice and 3 races for all of the 8-9 groups, because there's two groups mixed together but scored separately. So for the 8 groups, there'll be 3 races, a practice and 3 races each on the Saturday. And then on the Sunday, they'll only have 2 races each. And then the top 5 overall from each group, all of them groups, then we'll go through to a super final to finish the weekend off. And then on the Sunday as well, we've got the Legends group as well, which is basically ex-pro motocross riders and speedway riders. It's not a race. It needs to be relaxed for them guys to just go out there and enjoy themselves and do a few laps. So I think we're planning on a couple of 15-minute sessions for those guys to go out. I spoke to 4 times British motocross champion Paul Coopey the other day. He's hoping to be there, hoping to get your likes of Rob Herring. I've got my fingers crossed I'll be able to get Cole Nunn there as well. There's a few guys that I'm looking to get there. There's a lot of speedway guys coming down. Chris Louis, Alan Rossiter, Paul Lee, Simon Walker, Robbie Kessler, hopefully Alan and Andy Grahame, but Andy Graham's definitely coming. And Jill, they're staying the weekend as well, so that'd be cool. So yes, there's a lot of riders coming down. Probably missed a few off. I think Richie Hawkins, the Ipswich team manager, is coming down as well. Ollie Allen, joint Team GB manager, is coming down to ride as well. Ollie Allen will be there as well. I know a few of the speedway guys have mentioned about coming down. Barney Kennett, Ronnie Corrie. There's been quite a few guys that have said to me they're going to come down and watch. So there definitely will be quite a few speedway guys down there as well if you guys want to come down. Like I said, for the weekend, it's only £10 for an adult for the entire weekend, no camping fees, and under 16s free. So you could be there from Friday night if you wish to Sunday night and come back Monday, whatever you want to do. Obviously, we know the seaside's not too far down the road as well. So it should be good. Hope to see a lot of you there. Come on down. Come and enjoy the weekend. Should be cool. Right, I will keep you guys up to date with what's going on. I will always quote my dad. There you go. I'll just get him out in the old Ashby leathers there. Look, him and Martin always wore. You probably see there. Obviously, my dad rode with Andy Grahame in 1979 at Milton Keynes as well. It was cool. We've got some good pictures of them too on 5-1s. Dad was always at number 4 and Andy was at number 5, heat leader. So that was always good, them two together. So it was a nice bit of history there between those two guys. So that's cool. But I will leave you with his quote that it's nice to be important, but it's important to be nice. So I will catch up with you all soon. Thanks for all being on tonight. Good night and God bless. And ciao Bella. Cheers all. Speak to you all soon. I will share this out. This will be recorded and you can get all your family and friends and check it out. It'll be on my recording on YouTube, so you can watch it in your own time when it suits you guys. And I'll put it all out on the social medias tomorrow so you can all check it out.